Hi, I'm Neha from India. Please like and subscribe. I lived in a small village near Delhi with my single mom who owned a small beauty salon. Mom adored me, but there was another person I was super close to, her brother Raj. Uncle Raj was 10 years younger than Mom, and he stayed with us as he was studying in university close to the village. Every weekend, he would take me to the village fair, and we'd have a blast eating candies, taking rides, and watching wrestling matches, which was my favorite thing to do. Once when I was 10, a neighbor came over to visit with her super annoying son. First, he stuffed his face with all the pastries before I could even get to them. Mom only made these for guests, and he didn't let me have one. I walked off to my room annoyed, but minutes later he followed and climbed onto my bed with his muddy boots. Hey, who said you could come in here? Aw, the little baby still sweeps with her little teddy bear. You're stupid. Your mom is stupid. What? That doesn't even make any sense. Your mom doesn't even make any sense. He looked really annoyed and started to leave, but then he picked his nose and rubbed a big booger on my hair. Oh my God! I jumped on him like a wrestler and tackled him to the ground. Moments later, I had his arm pinned behind his back as he cried like a baby, and his mom came running to his rescue. And my mom was furious. Stop taking her to that rubbish fair, Raj. Where else would she learn this wrestling nonsense? That brat deserved it, and wrestling is the coolest. It's wild and unladylike, and you embarrassed me. You're not going to see those matches anymore. You hear me? Uncle Raj nodded obediently, but we sneaked out anyway. Then one day in 8th grade, our teacher informed us that they were introducing a new sport in school, wrestling, and I was on cloud 9. Mom would never approve, so I didn't tell her and joined the club. Of course, Uncle Raj knew. He also knew how tough the training could be, so he'd sneak extra food on my plate when he thought Mom wasn't looking. What are you doing, Raj? If she eats so much she'll get fat, then no boy will want to marry her. Trust me, sister. One day, there will be a long line of boys outside your home for Neha. And I'll tackle all of them to the ground so they'll go back to their mommies crying. This is not how girls talk, Neha. Girls are supposed to be delicate. They're supposed to sing and dance and learn sewing. Boring! I resisted everything girly, but Mom was as stubborn as a donkey. She would put face masks on me, make me wear long dresses to hide my muscular thighs, and never let me cut my long hair, because boys like long hair. Did it look like I cared? A year later, Uncle Raj finished his education and got a job as a police officer in the city. I cried for days when he left, but he always kept in touch, and that was some consolation. Meanwhile, I studied my butt off to get good grades so Mom would never suspect what I was up to in school. My wrestling also improved greatly over the year, and in 12th grade, I got a chance to participate in the state-level competition. The winner would get a chance to enter the nationals and also win prize money worth $50,000. It was the opportunity I'd been waiting for, but that also meant I finally had to tell Mom. What? You've been wrestling for the last 4 years? No wonder your body has become so manly. Look at your biceps, they're so big. Who's going to marry you? Can you stop thinking about my marriage for once? It's not happening, at least not for the next 20 years. Mom looked ready to explode, and she refused to let me participate. But I was her daughter and could be equally stubborn. I locked myself up in my room and refused to come down for days till she finally agreed. But on one condition. I had to learn sewing and some basic beauty salon stuff. Yuck. One day, Mom wasn't feeling well, so I was working in the salon threading a woman's eyebrows when she sneezed so hard that half her eyebrow got accidentally wiped off. Oh my God, what have you done? It's my brother's wedding today! It's not my fault that you sneezed like an active volcano. But she kept screaming at me, and a small crowd gathered in front of the salon. Just then, the most handsome guy I'd ever seen walked in. Wow, is that a new trend? You look gorgeous. What? You really think so? Absolutely. I'd ask you out on a date if you weren't already married. That made the woman blush like a tomato, and she went off thanking me. That was smooth. Who are you? Never seen you around before. The guy introduced himself as Raul and told me his family had recently moved in since his dad's company was working on a project here. Just as we were talking, Mom walked in. Who's this handsome guy, Neha? You didn't tell me you had a boyfriend. He looks rich too. Mom, he's not my boyfriend. We just met. Raul. My daughter is the best girl a guy can date. She's pretty, she can sew, she can cook. What is wrong with you? Just then, another customer walked in, and Raul left with an amused face. So embarrassing. A couple of days later, I was out for a morning run before school when I tripped over something. I would have landed hard on my face if someone hadn't caught me just in time. And we bump into each other again. If I didn't know better, I'd think you're stalking me. Oh, please, you're not my type. Your mom didn't seem to think so. My mom doesn't speak for me. And I'm sorry about that day. Mom's obsessed with me getting married. And you're obsessed with? Wrestling. Mom hates it, but I can tackle any guy to the ground and have him gasping for breath in seconds. If you're trying to scare me, it's not working. In fact, this just made you more attractive. Suddenly, Raul's face was inches from mine, and I forgot to breathe. He was the first guy who'd called me attractive. All the boys in my school were too scared of me to flirt with me or ask me out. I'll be late to school, so I should get going. Good night. I ran away like a bullet. Gosh, why did I sound like a moron? That day, I found a new girl in the wrestling arena. The coach told me her name was Mala and she'd recently joined our school. Best of luck, Mala. Weak people believe in dumb things like luck. I create my own destiny. Get ready to lose, loser. That was rude. Well, I'd show her who the loser was. Mala and I wrestled for what seemed like an eternity. Neither of us was willing to give up. She was stronger than she looked. That match resulted in a draw. But in the next one, I had her pinned to the ground in 30 seconds. I'd call you a loser too, but my mom taught me to never look down on anyone, unless you're admiring their shoes. Impressive. You've taken me by surprise. I haven't lost a single match in 7 years. The coach told me that Mala was participating in the state-level championship too, and I was probably going to be facing her off. Well, she better watch out. That day when I reached home, I was shocked to find Mom and Raul on the porch talking and laughing over tea like aunties. What's going on? What are you doing here? That's no way to speak to a guest. Where are your manners, Neha? I left them in the wrestling arena. Shh, keep your voice low. I don't want the neighbors to know about your stuff. They'll get to know about it anyway when she wins the state championship and her photos are all over the newspapers. How do you know that I'm participating in it? Your mom mentioned it. I'm encouraging her to come to your practice sessions and see how good you are. Why are you doing all this? Isn't it rather obvious? The way he was looking at me made my toes tingle. Fine, Raul. I'll come because you asked. I was so annoyed that I'd never been able to convince her. But when she did come and saw how good I was, she was actually impressed. She started attending all my sessions and even cheered me on loudly. It was such a welcome change, and I was glad that she was finally supporting me. The competition day arrived, and as I'd expected, the final match was between me and Mala. Minutes before the match, Mom came to me. Neha, drink this holy water. This will ward off the evil eye and make you win. I didn't believe in such things, but I drank it to please her anyway. In the first round, Mala and I gave each other tough competition, and I won. But as the second round started, I felt my eyes blur. Suddenly, I felt really dizzy, and then I completely blacked out. When I woke up, I was in the hospital, and Mom and Raul were beside me. What happened? The doctor did some tests and said you took drugs to boost your performance just before the competition, but it backfired and you passed out. He then told me the competition authorities had banned me from wrestling for the next 4 years because of the drugs. What? But I didn't take any. I swear, I've never even thought of... Suddenly, I remembered the water Mom gave me before the match. Wait, Mom, you gave me that water. What did you put in it? Nothing. I just... Neha, are you trying to blame me for this? Yes, I am. Didn't you always want me to give up wrestling? What have you done, Mom? Do you have any idea how hard I worked to reach here? How could you? It's the easiest thing to believe. I was fooled for thinking that you could ever support me, and I won't forgive you for this, Mom. The day I was discharged from the hospital, I packed my bags and left for the city. I just couldn't be around Mom right now. A friend of mine let me stay with her, and I started waitressing at a small restaurant to earn money. It was really lonely for a while. I wasn't talking to Mom, and even Raul had been out of touch since he was busy with work. Soon it was Diwali, and I hated not celebrating it at home. On Diwali night, I got a call from Uncle Raj, and I broke down and told him everything that had happened. Neha, parents can be wrong, but they always mean well for their kids. I know your mom went too far, but I don't believe that she would ever hurt you on purpose. But she did hurt me, Uncle. I worked really hard for something for years, and she ruined it in a minute. And she'll never admit she's wrong. And until then, I don't think I can forgive her. A few days later, I got home from work to find Uncle Raj's car parked outside. I hugged him tight and let him in, and he had some shocking news for me. When you told me about everything that day, I just knew something fishy was going on. So I made some investigations about Raul. First, turns out he's not some businessman's son like he says. He just works for a small medical company. So I guess he knows plenty about drugs. What are you saying? Raul added something to my water? But why? Because he was dating Mala at the time, and he did it to kick you out of the competition so she'd win. But he didn't do it for her. He's run away with all her prize money, and Mala has officially lodged a police complaint against him. So Mom didn't give me the drugs? No, she didn't. I know she's been tough on you, but that just didn't sound like my sister. Uncle Raj said he'd located Raul, and I was there when the police arrested him. As he was being taken away, I couldn't resist giving him a kick, too. And right after, Uncle Raj took me home. As soon as Mom saw me, she ran to hug me, and we both burst into tears. I'm sorry for not trusting you, Mom. And I'm sorry for giving you reasons not to. If I'd accepted your passion for wrestling from the start, none of this would have happened. Thanks to Uncle Raj, all charges against me were dropped, and I got to participate in the Nationals next year, where I won several medals. A couple of years later, I represented India in an international competition and won gold. That entire week, friends and relatives kept dropping in to congratulate us. And every time some nosy aunt tried to ask when I planned to get married, Mom would proudly say, "Nihai's focusing on her sport right now, and marriage can wait."